Hello and welcome back to our program. Today, we'll be delving into a story sent to us from a woman in Japan, whom we'll refer to by the pseudonym KIKI. Hello, my name is KIKI, and I want to share with you my wild and hot experience with my stepdad. Yes, I know what I did was wrong and a grave sin, but I still went through with it because I became a slave to temptation. When you crave the urge so badly, it's hard to resist the seduction, and that's exactly what happened to me. I went on vacation with my mom and brother, who migrated to California using the leave I saved from work almost 3 weeks. I was extremely happy because I had the chance to bond with my family. On my last 2 days, my stepdad, who came home from work, was with us. He comes home every 2 months due to his work, and he was overjoyed to see me.
Hey Kiki, how are you? You didn't even let me know that you've arrived here. I didn't know you were on vacation.
Yes, Dad. It's been a while since I visited.
So how are you doing in Japan, dear?
I'm doing fine, Dad. I'm lucky to have found a good job.
Well, where are you staying in Japan?
I rented an apartment in Kobe City.
That's good, dear. You know, I might be going to Fukuoka a month from now.
For official business, Han?
My mom interjected in our conversation with my stepdad.
Yes, honey, it's for a promotion. But I need to undergo extensive training at the head office in Fukuoka for over a month.
Dad, if you're going there, you can stay with me since I'll be alone at home.
Are you sure, dear? I might be there for 1 or 2 months.
It's okay, Dad. I replied without hesitation. He smiled and thanked me. The next day, the day of my flight to Japan, I waved goodbye to my family.
Expect me next month, dear.
Okay, Dad, I'll call or text you once I'm in Japan. By the way, Daddy William is my stepdad, my mom's second husband since she divorced my American father, making me half American and Japanese. I inherited my height from my mom, petite and with smooth skin. I'm only 5'6", while Daddy William towers over me, standing almost 6 feet tall. When I returned home, I immediately went back to work. Despite being busy, I always thought about Daddy William's arrival, even though it was still a month away. I couldn't wait for his call. After a month passed, I still hadn't received any calls or texts from him, and I began to worry. Maybe something happened during his business trip. Finally, the next month, I received a call from him.
Hello, dear. Sorry if I'm late. I'm already at the airport, just waiting to be released.
Okay, Dad, wait for me there. I'll come pick you up. I replied, quickly preparing myself and heading to the airport. He was already standing in the arrival area, waving as I approached. Hi, Dad. How was your flight? I asked as I planted a kiss on his cheek.
Well, it was a bit bumpy, but otherwise, it was fine.
We chatted while waiting for his luggage. Mom and Dad, my car is parked over there. I said as he carried his bag. I was still young when my real dad and mom separated, so I've always seen Daddy as a friend of my father. I'm relaxed around him, and I don't feel shy anymore, even though I'm just in my nightdress walking around the living room. I'm not self-conscious about it. I've noticed that it doesn't bother my stepdad, so I've become even more comfortable around him. But sometimes, I admit, it's like I'm the one in the wrong. It's like I'm the one with impure thoughts. I can't help but feel a strange warmth whenever I see my stepdad, his fit body clad in shorts sometimes, especially when he's just wearing boxes. All sorts of thoughts enter my mind. I can't help but shake my head when I realize I might be fantasizing about my stepdad. But perhaps it's because of something I witnessed. A scene that just won't leave my thoughts. Whenever I recall seeing him and Mom being affectionate, I can't help but feel aroused. I try to push those thoughts away, but they always come back, especially when he's just woken up and walks around the living room, tall and muscular as ever. Sometimes, when I can't control my feelings anymore, I just retreat to my room to cool down. I endure the agony of imagination because I know whatever I'm thinking can never happen. Whenever I'm with my stepdad at home, I've memorized his usual time of arrival. He usually comes home around 7 p.m., sometimes even earlier if I catch him at home after work. But one particular evening was different. It was past 8 p.m., and he still hadn't returned. The rain was pouring heavily outside, and I thought there might be a storm. I tried waiting for him, but hunger eventually got the best of me. I ate dinner alone, then took a shower and changed into my baby blue tank top and thin cotton shorts, settling on the sofa to watch a movie while waiting for him. I didn't notice what happened next, perhaps due to exhaustion, as I dozed off on. I don't know how long I had been asleep, but I awakened by a strange sensation. Unusual, but oddly pleasant. As I became aware, I realized someone was kissing me, and there were other sensations too. When I opened my eyes, I was shocked to see that it was my stepdad who had woken me up. He was kneeling beside me, beside on the edge of the sofa, and he seemed to be out of himself, despite my body seemingly enjoying what he was doing. I still felt fear and shock. My hand moved instinctively to push him away, but he quickly grabbed my hands, eagerly gazing. After that, he proceeded with his plan, and I struggled against him again, but he was stronger than me. So I couldn't do anything. With my stepdad's skill, I felt like I was about to give in. Like I was losing control and wanted to move my hands to touch his muscular body. I was on the verge of surrendering, but it was like my mind snapped back and I managed to push him away at last. Daddy William, what are you doing? I blurted out in shock. It never crossed my mind until then that Daddy William would develop feelings for me even when we lived together in my apartment. Is what I'm wearing the reason? No, because he sees me dressed like this every day.
I'm sorry, dear. I've wanted to do this for a long time. I tried to control myself, but I can't anymore. I want you, and I need you now.
He pleaded with a desperate look on his face. Then he slowly approached me to continue what he had started. I did everything I could to stop him, but he was stronger than me. I also felt myself growing weaker, perhaps due to years of longing without relief. I began to enjoy what was happening, and I think Daddy William sensed it too, which only fueled his aggression. I felt myself weakening further until I had no strength left to resist him. Eventually, I lost control and gave in to my stepdad. He saw how I surrendered myself to him. Daddy William, what are you doing to me? I struggled to say, but this time, he could clearly see that I wasn't resisting anymore. Rather, my face showed that I was starting to enjoy it. Slowly, I found myself drawn closer to him. Daddy William smiled gently as he approached my cheek and whispered,
I'll make you happy, my dear.
His words ignited a spark within me. When he saw how eager I was, he did what he wanted to do. Please stop now because Mommy will get angry if she finds out. I occasionally pleaded with Daddy William, although truthfully, I didn't want him to stop. I hoped he would come to his senses, but it seemed like he couldn't hear me. Maybe even with Mommy here, he wouldn't stop, and I knew I wouldn't stop him either. He gazed deeply into my eyes.
We'll only do this once, my dear. Please just let me, and you just enjoy.
He said tenderly, and with that, I completely surrendered. My mind couldn't resist the joy. After the intense moment, we remained embraced, feeling each other's presence, until suddenly I came to my senses. What have we done, Dad? Mom will be hurt by this, I said, leaning against his chest.
She won't be hurt if she doesn't know.
He said, gently stroking my shoulder.
Let's just keep this between us, dear. Whatever happened between us, only we should know, right?
I looked at him and just nodded.
Wow, you are so tight, dear. It's like you still lack experience. You know you're the best I've ever tasted, so different from your mom.
He said as he hugged me. Why did you do that to me?
Do I even need to answer the dear? You are beautiful, super sexy, anyone would drool over you. And I know you needed this.
He said surprisingly, catching my gaze as he smiled.
You know, dear, I saw you releasing some heat in your room.
He revealed to me. What? You saw me? I exclaimed in shock.
Yes, you forgot to close your door properly. And I heard some noise from your room, so I peeked. I thought something happened to you. And that was when I saw what you were doing to yourself. Another thing that surprised me was that while you were doing that, you were whispering my name, which made me even crazier about you.
My stepdad confessed. I was so embarrassed that I buried my face in his armpit. He laughed at me.
You have nothing to be ashamed of, dear.
He said with a smile.
Let's go to your room.
Daddy William invited me. I immediately followed him, and as soon as we were at the door, he pulled me. Then he immediately took advantage of me. Of course I agreed. Why would I have to stop him when I knew the kind of pleasure he was giving me? Round 2, I teased him with a smirk, and he smiled back at me.
Would you allow me to add more?
He asked me. I hesitated for a moment. But quickly agreed. Yes, I want a second round, even though I know it will hurt even more. After that, there were different kind of noises coming from my room. In the days that followed, Daddy stayed in my apartment. In front of others, they knew he was my stepdad, but when we were in my room, it felt like we were a married couple. Something was always happening between us, and we tried many positions. I can say that my stepdad thought me to be wild in bed. It didn't take long before Dad needed to return to States for work, and Mom always went with him. That was fine with me because I had no relationship with Daddy Efren, except to fulfill our needs with each other. When he left my apartment, my life returned to normal. For me, it was a relief because, despite enjoying my time with my stepdad, I couldn't help feeling guilty. But the desires of the flesh prevailed, and I couldn't resist my stepdad. Yes, we continued our stolen moments because my stepdad would suddenly visit me to bring pleasure to my bed. Every time he visited me, I always prepared myself because he really made the most of our time together. He would stay in my apartment for days, and we never tired of indulging in pleasure. That's all I can share with you. Love, Kiki. And here ends the story where Kiki sent a false name. Another story has been completed after reading, and we hope you enjoyed following this program. If you have personal experiences you'd like to share on our program, email them to Personal Odyssey Tales, and we will feature them here. Join our storytelling community because every story deserves to be heard, and we're here to share them with you.